Welcome to How to Lose the Weight, the podcast for women ready to stop waiting for someday and live life now. I'm your host, Holly Toscanini, and I'm here to help you break free from perfectionism, self-doubt, and the someday mindset. Together, we'll dive into real conversations about self-trust, empowerment, and living authentically. If you're ready to reconnect with your intuition and step into your power, you're in the right place. Let's lose the weight and start living fully right now. Most women don't have an I'm not confident problem. They have a self-editing habit, and they've been calling it being polite. You know what I mean? You rehearse what you're going to say until it stops sounding like you, or you soften your opinion so nobody gets uncomfortable, or you wait until you have the perfect words so you end up never saying it, or you write the post and then delete it, or you draft that text like it's going to be used in a court case. And then you wonder why you feel invisible. Well, here's the truth. You're not invisible. You're editing yourself out of your own life. So today, I'm going to show you how to stop doing that without turning into a different person, without becoming aggressive, and without needing a personality transplant. You'll get one rule, one simple speaking framework, and a 7-day practice that will give you actual receipts, not just feeling inspired. Welcome back to How to Lose the Weight. I'm your host, Holly Toscanini. And if you listened to episode 100, you'll know we laid the foundation for unwaiting as a philosophy, self-leadership, not someday energy. And in episode 101, we talked about standing in your brilliance with Kathy Kwiatkowski. So today is the great, but how do I do that when I'm scared episode? Because I don't want unwaiting to be a concept you like. I want it to be a practice you live. So I'm going to read your mind for just a second. I think to you, self-editing could look like having an opinion in a meeting, but waiting, and then the moment passes, and later you think, oh, why didn't I just say it? Or you start a sentence with, this might be stupid, or sorry, quick question, because you've been trained to apologize for taking up space. You want to set a boundary, but instead you craft a 14-paragraph explanation to make sure nobody thinks you're being mean. Or you want to post something online, but you keep editing it and stripping it of your personality until it's bland and generic. Or maybe you get invited to something you don't really want to do and say yes because you can't tolerate the idea that someone might be mildly disappointed. And then you tell yourself, I just need more confidence. No, most of the time you don't need more confidence. You need to stop acting like making other people comfortable is your full-time job. Self-editing is what happens when you prioritize being digestible over being honest. It's sneaky because it often looks like maturity. It looks like being reasonable, being easygoing, professional, above it, being the grown-up. But when you self-edit from fear, it's not maturity. It's self-protection. And I'm not mad at you for it. I mean, for a lot of women, self-editing started as a survival skill. I mean, maybe you learned, don't be too loud. Don't upset anybody. Don't be difficult. Don't be needy. Don't say the thing that could cause any conflict. And then you became exceptional at it. So if you're listening, thinking, why do I do this? You do it because it worked for you at least once. But here's something I need to tell you. Midlife is when we start realizing something kind of painful. What helped you belong can also make you disappear. That version of you that kept the peace may not be the version of you who gets to live free. And midlife adds pressure because you're carrying so much more. More history, responsibility, awareness, more I don't have time to waste energy. And often more regret. Regret for the ways you edited your desires down to something manageable. Regret for the years you told yourself later. And regret for the parts of you that were always there but never had a chance to shine because you were waiting for permission. So visibility doesn't feel like posting more. Visibility feels like risking being judged. It feels like being seen as too much. It feels like someone not approving. It feels like stepping out of a role you've been rewarded for. And that's why women don't just decide to be visible. They wobble. They stall. They edit. So today isn't about forcing you to be fearless. It's about giving you a way to show up while still feeling human. So here is the unwaiting rule for visibility. Say it before it's perfect. Not because perfection doesn't matter, because perfection is really just a delay tactic. Perfection is how you avoid risk. It's how you postpone the moment when you might be seen, misunderstood, or not universally adored, which, by the way, is not a realistic life goal. Perfection isn't a standard. It's a hiding place. So we're not aiming for flawless. We're aiming for clear. We're aiming for honest. We're aiming for one more step visible than yesterday. Uh, I've done this too. I mean, there were years where I could talk myself into being reasonable about anything, not happy, not aligned, but reasonable. I could make a strong desire sound like a maybe. I could turn a boundary into a negotiation. I could take something that mattered to me and water it down so nobody ever had a reaction to it. And it's not like I was lying. I was just editing because being visible has consequences. I mean, people have opinions, people misunderstand, and people project. And at some point, I realized if I kept living based on avoiding other people's reactions, I'm not going to end up with a life that looks fine and feels like nothing. No. So this is what unwaiting looks like in real life. You stop editing yourself out and you practice saying the thing before it's perfect. So here's a tool I want you to think about using. It's called the brave sentence method. It's 3 sentences. That's it. A truth, a boundary, and a next step. Truth is what's true for me. A boundary could be what I'm available for or what I'm not available for. And your next step is so I'm going to or what I need is. Now, this works because self-editing usually happens in one of 3 places. You don't say the truth, you don't set the limit, or you don't name what you want the next step to be. So your brain stays in this swirl. Now, the brave sentence method pulls you out of a swirl and into leadership. And no, it doesn't require you to be loud. It just requires you to be clear. Clarity is kindness, but with a backbone. Now, I'm going to give you some examples you can literally borrow. Here are the 5 most common scenarios where you can use a brave sentence method: work, family, visibility, health, and dating. If you're in a work or leadership situation and you disagree with what's being proposed, your truth: I don't think this approach is going to work. Your boundary: I'm not available to rubber stamp something I don't support. Your next step: let's look at 2 alternatives and make a decision by Friday. Or maybe you want to say no. Truth: I don't have the capacity for this week. Boundary: I'm not available for urgent work that wasn't planned. Next step: which priority should I move off my plate? Maybe you want to suggest taking a different approach with a project. Your truth: I have a different recommendation. Your boundary: I'm not going to stay quiet just to keep things smooth. Your next step: here's what I propose and why. You don't have to sound confident. You have to sound clear. There's a difference. Now let's talk about setting boundaries with friends and family, because this one can sometimes be tricky. Maybe somebody makes a comment on your body or somebody else's. Your truth: that comment doesn't work for me. Your boundary: I'm not available for body talk. Talk about mine or anybody else's. Your next step: let's change the subject. Or maybe you're tired of doing all the emotional labor in a relationship. Your truth: I'm not the right person for this right now. Your boundary: I'm not available to process this every day. Next step: let's talk on Sunday. Or maybe you're feeling a little resentment about something. Your truth: I'm disappointed. Your boundary: I'm not going to pretend this didn't affect me. And your next step: I want to talk about what happens next. And what if you want to be more visible? You start with maybe posting the imperfect post. Your truth: I've been holding back because I want this to be perfect. Your boundary: I'm not available for perfection as the price of participation. Your next step: I'm sharing the imperfect version today. Or maybe you just want to express your own opinion. Your truth could be, this matters to me. Your boundary: I'm not shrinking to make it easier for you to digest. Your next step: here's what I believe and why. And if you want help in a medical setting, huge for midlife women, for example, asking for what you need, your truth could be, my symptoms are affecting the quality of my life. Your boundary: I'm not leaving today without a plan. Your next step: what are the next steps for diagnosis and treatment? Or maybe for you, you just don't feel like you're being taken seriously by your doctor. Truth: I don't feel heard. Boundary: I'm not available for being dismissed. Next step: please document my concerns in my chart and refer me out. If you can advocate for everybody else, you can certainly advocate for you. And finally, dating and relationship situations, like setting an expectation. Truth: I want consistency. Boundary: I'm not available for ambiguity. Next step: if you want to see me, let's choose a day. Or maybe it's time to stand up for yourself. Truth: that didn't feel respectful. Boundary: I'm not available for jokes at my expense. Next step: if it happens again, I'm out. and then you have to mean it. Now, let's be real. You might use the brave sentence method and immediately feel a vulnerability hangover. Totally normal. Because you're doing something your nervous system may interpret as risky, being seen. So here's what to do when you wobble. You don't spiral. You don't start over. And you don't go into a 3-day, was I too much courtroom drama in your head. You return to your center with a simple affirmation. And it could be something like, I'm allowed to be clear. Or clarity is not cruelty. Or I'm not responsible for managing everybody else's comfort. A wobble is a part of visibility. Returning to your center is the skill. Okay, now let's turn this into a movement, all right? Because community isn't built by listening alone. Community is built by participating. So I'm going to give you a practice, and I'll post it in the show notes as well. This is going to be your Unwaiting Visibility Week. 1 micro move a day, 2 to 10 minutes. If you want to do it with a friend, even better, because women change faster when they work together. All right, here are the guidelines. Do it imperfectly on purpose. No over-explaining, and keep track of your receipts, maybe in a journal or share with a friend. Day 1, the opinion. Say one opinion you normally swallow in a meeting, a text, a conversation. You might say, my opinion is, and my receipt is, I didn't self-edit when. Catching on? Day 2, a clean no. Say no once without a whole speech. You might say, I can't, thanks for thinking of me. Your receipt, I said no without a TED Talk. Day 3, the ask. Ask for what you want in one sentence. You might say, what I want or need is. Now your receipt is, I asked directly instead of hinting. Day 4, the imperfect share. Post or share something at 80%. It can be a helpful tip, a short reflection, a truth you've been holding. Your receipt, I shared without perfecting. All right, day 5 is the boundary sentence. Use the brave sentence method once. Truth, boundary, next step. Your receipt could be, I set a boundary without apologizing. Day 6 is your visibility micro move. 1 scene action. Introduce yourself. Make a comment. Pitch, apply, raise your hand, speak up. Your receipt, I let myself be seen when. Day 7, receipts and integration. Write 5 receipts from the week. You might write, this week I proved I can. And you don't have to make it profound. Sometimes the proof is, I didn't disappear. Visibility isn't a personality trait, it's just a practice. Text this episode to one friend and say, this is Unwaiting Visibility Week. Do it with me. And if you want to loop me in, message me one sentence. I'm unwaiting on, fill in the blank, and my day 1 micro move is, fill in the blank. Because I'm building a community of women who don't just consume content. They practice together. That's the whole point. Now, if you're listening and thinking, okay, Holly, I love all this, but I'm stuck on what I even want or what my next step is, or I'm overthinking everything and I need something that gets me moving fast. That's exactly why I created the Unwaiting Quick Start Guide. It's a short, practical mini course and workbook you can complete in one sitting or within 24 hours to get clarity and take action without overthinking yourself into another week of maybe later. You're going to walk away with a reset from the it's too late mindset. You're going to get clarity on what you actually want. You'll have one doable next step you can take immediately and a simple momentum boost that makes confidence feel possible again. And the link is in the show notes. Do it in 24 hours. Get your next step and start living like it's your life again. All right, my friends, here is your takeaway. You don't need to become louder. You need to become clearer. And you don't need to feel confident before you're visible. You just need one micro move that proves you could show up without editing yourself out. So this week, we're not waiting for the perfect wording. We're not waiting for permission either. We're not waiting for an entire committee to approve. We're doing Unwaiting Visibility Week, 1 micro move a day. And here's our closing ritual because I want you leaving this episode with some movement, not just some good vibes. Say it out loud or write it down. This week, I am done waiting on, fill in the blank. My first micro move is, fill in the blank, and then keep receipts. Today, I proved I can, fill in the blank. Receipts only, friend. If you found value in today's episode, please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a review. It helps more people like you find the clarity and courage to stop waiting and start living. See you next week. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to How to Lose the Weight. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you found value in this episode, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It really helps the show reach more women like you who are ready to step into their power. For more insights and inspiration, follow me on Instagram at Holly Toscanini or visit hollytoscanini.com. Until next time, remember, stop waiting and start living.